In the year 2157, humanity's dreams of interstellar diplomacy became a reality when the Yaltronians, a highly advanced and peaceful alien species, initiated first contact. The excitement on Earth was palpable. Leaders from every nation gathered to greet the visitors. The Yaltronian fleet, sleek and gleaming with a metallic blue sheen, arrived in Earth's orbit, broadcasting a message of peace and cooperation. However, the initial meeting didn't go as planned. A critical error in translation led to a tragic misunderstanding. The Yaltronians, misinterpreting a human greeting gesture as an act of aggression, responded defensively. A Yaltronian scout ship fired a warning shot that struck a human satellite, sending debris hurtling toward Earth. Panic ensued. The human fleet, on high alert, returned fire. Within moments, what was meant to be a historic moment of unity turned into a skirmish. Several Yaltronian ships were damaged, and the humans quickly realized the gravity of their mistake. Diplomats worked frantically to establish communication and clarify the misunderstanding, but the damage was done. The Yaltronians, perceiving the human response as a deliberate act of war, declared hostilities. The stage was set for a conflict neither side wanted, but both felt compelled to pursue. The days following the skirmish were chaotic. The United Earth Council convened emergency sessions, scrambling to respond to the Yaltronian declaration of war. Efforts to communicate a truce went unanswered as the Yaltronian fleet regrouped and advanced toward Earth with clear hostile intentions. President Arya Mitchell addressed the world, urging unity in the face of the unexpected threat. "We stand on the brink of war, not by choice, but by circumstance. Our survival depends on our ability to come together as one species," she declared, her voice resolute. Humanity's brightest minds and most capable leaders were called upon to strategize a defense. General Maria Tenzin, known for her unyielding spirit and strategic brilliance, was appointed as the commander of Earth's defense forces. Her first task was to assemble a coalition of nations under a unified command, pooling resources and knowledge to face the impending invasion. Despite the initial shock, humanity's resolve hardened. Scientists worked around the clock to enhance defensive technologies, engineers modified existing spacecraft for combat, and soldiers prepared for a war that few had ever imagined. The spirit of cooperation and determination permeated every corner of the globe. Meanwhile, the Yaltronians moved with precision, their fleet inching closer to Earth. The threat of an all-out invasion loomed large, and humanity braced for the worst. Diplomats made one last attempt to reach out to the Yaltronians, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. The world watched as the alien armada approached, knowing that the fate of humanity hung in the balance. As the Yaltronian fleet approached the outer reaches of the solar system, humanity's response was swift and decisive. Nations that had once been rivals now stood shoulder to shoulder, united against a common enemy. Under General Maria Tenzin's leadership, the Earth Defense Coalition was formed, encompassing military leaders, scientists, and strategists from every corner of the globe. The coalition's headquarters, a sprawling complex known as the Citadel, became the nerve center of humanity's defense efforts. Within its high-tech walls, plans were drafted, alliances forged, and strategies devised. The Citadel buzzed with activity, every individual focused on the singular goal of defending Earth. Among the coalition's members was Dr. Raj Patel, a leading scientist in propulsion and energy weapons. His expertise was crucial in adapting human technology to counter the advanced Yaltronian arsenal. Alongside him, Lieutenant Jiro Hasegawa, a decorated pilot known for his unconventional tactics, was tasked with leading a squadron of elite fighters. The first test of their united defense came in the asteroid belt. A contingent of human fighters, led by Lieutenant Hasegawa, engaged a Yaltronian vanguard that had broken away from the main fleet. The battle was fierce and unrelenting, the vacuum of space lit by bursts of laser fire and explosions. Hasegawa's daring maneuvers and quick thinking turned the tide in humanity's favor. Using the asteroids as cover, his squadron managed to outflank the Yaltronians, delivering a devastating blow to their forces. The victory, though hard-won, was a significant morale boost for the defenders. News of the battle spread quickly, bolstering the resolve of Earth's inhabitants. The message was clear: humanity would not go down without a fight. As preparations continued, the coalition's members knew that the real test was yet to come. The Yaltronian main fleet was still on its way, and the battle for Earth's survival was just beginning. The asteroid belt became the crucible where humanity's mettle was tested. The Yaltronians, not underestimating their human opponents again, sent a sizable vanguard to probe Earth's defenses. The asteroid belt provided a natural buffer, and General Maria Tenzin saw an opportunity to use it to humanity's advantage. Lieutenant Jiro Hasegawa, fresh from his victory, was given command of a reinforced squadron. His mission, to intercept the Yaltronian vanguard and delay their advance. His fleet, composed of retrofitted mining ships and state-of-the-art fighters, moved into the asteroid field, using the massive rocks as cover. The Yaltronian ships, sleek and agile, darted through the field with ease, their weapon systems probing for human targets. Hasegawa's squadron lay in wait, using the asteroids to mask their presence. The tension was palpable as they watched the alien ships approach, their sensors scanning for any sign of the enemy. The battle erupted with sudden ferocity. Hasegawa's fighters burst from their hiding spots, launching a coordinated assault on the Yaltronian vanguard. The initial strike was devastating, catching the aliens off guard. Laser beams and missile trails crisscrossed the void, and the asteroid belt became a deadly arena of flashing lights and explosions. The Yaltronians quickly recovered, their advanced ships maneuvering with precision. The human pilots, though less advanced, fought with tenacity and cunning. Lieutenant Hasegawa led the charge, his ship weaving through the chaos with practiced skill. He orchestrated the battle like a symphony, directing his squadron to exploit every weakness. In the heat of the battle, a Yaltronian dreadnought unleashed a barrage of plasma cannons, targeting a human command ship. Hasegawa, realizing the threat, executed a daring maneuver. His fighter skimmed the surface of an asteroid, using its gravity to slingshot around and strike the dreadnought's vulnerable rear. The resulting explosion lit up the battlefield, a testament to human bravery and ingenuity. The skirmish ended with the Yaltronians in retreat, their vanguard decimated. Humanity had won another victory, but the cost was steep. Many brave pilots were lost, and the reality of the war's toll began to sink in. As the survivors regrouped and repaired their ships, they knew this was only the beginning. With the threat of the Yaltronian fleet looming ever closer, Earth's leaders knew they needed more than just bravery to win the war. They needed an edge. Enter the Zinthari, an enigmatic alien race known for their technological prowess. Diplomatic channels had been quietly opened, and now, with the battle intensifying, the Zinthari were ready to negotiate. President Arya Mitchell, General Maria Tenzin, and Dr. Raj Patel traveled to the neutral territory of the Kuiper Belt to meet the Zinthari delegation. The Zinthari, with their crystalline forms and ethereal presence, were as intriguing as they were advanced. Their leader, Solaris, greeted the humans with a mix of curiosity and caution. The negotiations were tense. The Zinthari, while sympathetic, were not altruistic. They demanded significant resources and mining rights in exchange for their technology. The human delegation, understanding the stakes, agreed to the terms. The Zinthari provided schematics for advanced energy shields, propulsion systems, and weaponry, giving humanity the technological boost they desperately needed. Back on Earth, scientists and engineers worked around the clock to integrate the new technology. Dr. Raj Patel led the efforts, his team tirelessly adapting Zinthari innovations to human ships and infrastructure. The pace was relentless, but the results were promising. New shield generators and plasma weapons were installed on key ships, and propulsion systems were upgraded to improve maneuverability and speed. The first test of the new technology came sooner than expected. A Yaltronian scout fleet approached, and the newly upgraded human ships were dispatched to intercept. The battle was a proving ground for the Zinthari tech. The upgraded shields held against the Yaltronian plasma cannons, and the new weapon systems cut through the enemy ranks with devastating efficiency. Lieutenant Jiro Hasegawa, now piloting an upgraded fighter, marveled at the enhancements. His ship moved with unprecedented agility, and the new plasma cannons packed a punch. The battle was a resounding success, with the Yaltronian scouts annihilated and the human fleet emerging unscathed. The victory solidified the human-Zinthari alliance and boosted morale across Earth. Humanity now had the tools to match their alien adversaries, and the tide of war began to turn. But the Yaltronians were not defeated yet, and the next confrontation would test the limits of the newfound alliance. The Yaltronians, frustrated by their recent setbacks, launched a full-scale assault on Titan, one of humanity's most strategic outposts in the solar system. Titan's base, a sprawling complex beneath the moon's icy surface, was a vital hub for Earth's military operations. Losing it would be a devastating blow. General Maria Tenzin, aware of Titan's importance, dispatched a fleet led by Captain Sofia Reyes, a seasoned officer with a reputation for her tactical acumen and unyielding determination. Reyes's mission was clear: defend Titan at all costs. The battle began with a Yaltronian bombardment. Their ships, bristling with weaponry, unleashed a relentless barrage on Titan's defenses. The base's shields, enhanced by Zinthari technology, absorbed the initial onslaught, but cracks began to show under the sustained pressure. Captain Reyes directed the defense with precision. Human ships, equipped with the latest upgrades, launched counterattacks, targeting the Yaltronian ships with coordinated strikes. The icy landscape of Titan became a chaotic battleground, with ships darting between towering ice formations and laser fire illuminating the dark skies. In the heat of the battle, a critical breach occurred in Titan's outer defenses. A Yaltronian landing party aimed to infiltrate the base and disable its shield generators. Reyes quickly mobilized ground forces, leading them personally to repel the invaders. The corridors of the Titan base echoed with the sounds of blaster fire and explosions. The fighting was fierce and brutal. Captain Reyes, armed with a plasma rifle, fought alongside her troops. Her leadership and bravery inspired those around her, and slowly but surely, they pushed the Yaltronian forces back. The turning point came when Reyes, in a daring move, led a small team through a series of maintenance tunnels to flank the enemy and disable their command unit. With the ground assault thwarted, the focus shifted back to space. The human fleet, bolstered by reinforcements, pressed their advantage. Captain Reyes's flagship, the Resolute, spearheaded the assault, its plasma cannons tearing through the Yaltronian lines. One by one, the enemy ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. The Battle of Titan ended in a decisive victory for humanity. The Yaltronian fleet was shattered, and Titan remained firmly under human control. The cost, however, was high. Many lives were lost, and the base sustained significant damage. But the victory demonstrated humanity's resilience and tactical prowess. As the smoke cleared and the survivors tended to their wounds, Captain Sofia Reyes stood on the bridge of the Resolute, looking out at the battered landscape of Titan. The war was far from over, but this victory showed that humanity could stand toe-to-toe with their alien adversaries and prevail. The next phase of the conflict awaited, and humanity was ready to face it head-on. The victory at Titan bolstered humanity's confidence, but it also drew the Yaltronians to employ more insidious tactics. In the days following the battle, classified information began leaking to the enemy, leading to a series of well-coordinated Yaltronian strikes. The Earth Defense Coalition realized there was a traitor in their midst. Suspicion fell upon several individuals, but no one could be pinpointed with certainty. The search for the mole became a top priority. General Maria Tenzin appointed Colonel David Park, a seasoned intelligence officer known for his sharp instincts and meticulous methods, to root out the spy. Colonel Park conducted a thorough investigation, employing every surveillance technique and analytical tool at his disposal. He interviewed suspects, scrutinized communication logs, and analyzed the patterns of the leaks. His meticulous approach slowly began to narrow down the list of potential traitors. Meanwhile, the Yaltronians capitalized on the chaos. Using the leaked information, they launched surprise attacks on several key installations, causing significant damage and loss of life. Morale among the troops wavered as the sense of betrayal and paranoia grew. The breakthrough came when Colonel Park discovered a series of encoded messages hidden within routine data transmissions. The encryption was sophisticated, but with the help of Dr. Raj Patel's expertise, Park managed to crack the code. The messages pointed to Lieutenant Adrian Markov, a decorated officer with access to highly sensitive information. Confronted with the evidence, Markov initially denied any wrongdoing. However, under intense interrogation, he confessed to being coerced by the Yaltronians. They had captured his family during the initial skirmish and threatened their lives unless he cooperated. His betrayal was driven by desperation and fear, not malice. The revelation sent shockwaves through the coalition. Markov's actions, though condemnable, highlighted the brutal tactics employed by the Yaltronians. General Tenzin addressed the troops, emphasizing the importance of vigilance and unity. She assured them that steps were being taken to prevent future breaches. Colonel Park's investigation had uncovered the traitor, but the damage was done. The coalition's security protocols were overhauled, and trust had to be rebuilt from the ground up. The Yaltronians had exploited humanity's compassion and fear, but the coalition was determined to turn that vulnerability into strength. In the wake of the espionage crisis, humanity sought to bolster their defenses and strike back against the Yaltronians. Recognizing the need for additional support, General Maria Tenzin pursued an alliance with the Dravarians, a fierce warrior race known for their formidable combat prowess and a shared enmity toward the Yaltronians. Negotiations were held aboard the human flagship Resolute, with Captain Sophia Reyes and Colonel David Park representing Earth. The Dravarian delegation, led by Warlord Thrakos, was initially skeptical. The Dravarians valued strength and honor, and they needed to be convinced that humanity was a worthy ally. Captain Reyes presented the case, highlighting humanity's resilience and recent victories. She emphasized the mutual benefits of an alliance, particularly the opportunity to deal a significant blow to the Yaltronians. The turning point came when Colonel Park shared the story of Lieutenant Markov's betrayal, showcasing the lengths to which humanity would go to protect their own, and how they had overcome the ensuing crisis. Impressed by their resolve, Warlord Thrakos agreed to the alliance. The Dravarians provided additional firepower and shared some of their advanced combat techniques. In return, humanity offered technological support and strategic insights, forming a symbiotic partnership. The newly forged alliance planned a daring offensive aimed at the heart of the Yaltronian fleet. The target was a massive Yaltronian command ship stationed near the planet Zathara, a critical hub for their operations. The mission was risky, but success would cripple the Yaltronian command structure and give humanity a significant advantage. The joint human-Dravarian fleet assembled and set course for Zathara. The journey through hostile territory tested their coordination and trust, but the presence of Dravarian warriors bolstered the humans' morale. The plan was to engage the Yaltronian defenses head-on, while a specialized strike team infiltrated the command ship to disable its systems from within. As the joint fleet arrived at Zathara, the Yaltronians were caught off guard by the sheer size and ferocity of the Allied forces. The initial engagement was intense, with ships clashing in a spectacular display of firepower. Amidst the chaos, the strike team, led by Sergeant Valeria Chen, prepared for their daring infiltration. The team consisted of elite human soldiers and Dravarian commandos, each member handpicked for their skills and bravery. Using a stealth ship, they approached the Yaltronian command vessel under the cover of the larger battle. The ship's cloaking technology, a gift from the Zinthari, allowed them to slip past the enemy's sensors undetected. Once aboard the command ship, the team moved swiftly through the dimly lit corridors, neutralizing guards and avoiding detection. The atmosphere was tense, every shadow and sound a potential threat. Sergeant Chen, known for her tactical genius and calm under pressure, led the team with precision and determination. Their objective was the ship's command center, where they needed to plant explosives to cripple its control systems. The journey through the vessel was fraught with danger, as they encountered heavily armed Yaltronian soldiers and automated defenses. Each encounter was a test of their training and resolve. In the heart of the ship, they reached the command center. The room was a hive of activity, with Yaltronian officers coordinating the battle outside. Sergeant Chen signaled her team to take positions. The assault was swift and brutal, catching the Yaltronians by surprise. Blaster fire erupted, and the team moved with deadly efficiency. As they secured the command center, Chen and her team planted the explosives. However, an unexpected complication arose. A Yaltronian officer, realizing their plan, initiated a lockdown sequence. The team was trapped, and the clock was ticking. Chen made a quick decision. She ordered the team to split up. One group would continue planting the explosives, while the other, led by herself, would find a way to disable the lockdown. The tension was palpable as they raced against time, knowing that failure meant not just their lives but the success of the entire mission. In a daring move, Chen's group hacked into the ship's mainframe, overriding the lockdown protocols. The explosives were set, and the team regrouped for a hasty retreat. As they made their escape, the command ship's alarms blared, and Yaltronian reinforcements swarmed the corridors. The team fought their way back to the stealth ship, every step a battle. Chen covered the retreat, her blaster cutting down pursuing Yaltronians. Just as the last of her team boarded the ship, she was hit by enemy fire. Despite her injuries, she managed to make it aboard, and the ship launched away from the command vessel. From a safe distance, they watched as the explosives detonated, the Yaltronian command ship erupting in a massive explosion. The mission was a success, but the cost was high. Chen's bravery and leadership had ensured their victory, but she paid the price. The joint fleet, seeing the command ship's destruction, pressed their advantage. The Yaltronian forces, now in disarray, were routed. The Battle of Zathara ended in a decisive victory for the Human-Dravarian alliance, marking a turning point in the war. Sergeant Valeria Chen was hailed as a hero, her actions becoming a symbol of the sacrifices made in the fight for survival. The alliance, now proven in battle, stood ready to take the fight to the Yaltronians, united and stronger than ever. With the destruction of the Yaltronian command ship at Zathara, the balance of power shifted dramatically in favor of the Human-Dravarian alliance. However, the Yaltronians were far from defeated. They regrouped and prepared for a massive counteroffensive, aimed at regaining their lost ground and striking a decisive blow against humanity. General Maria Tenzin, aware of the precarious situation, convened a war council to plan the next steps. The coalition's leaders, including Captain Sophia Reyes and Warlord Thrakos, gathered to discuss their strategy. Intelligence reports indicated that the Yaltronians were amassing a large fleet near the planet Proxima, a key strategic location that controlled access to several vital star systems. "We cannot allow them to regroup and strike back," General Tenzin declared. "We must take the fight to them and ensure they cannot launch another offensive." The coalition agreed on a bold plan, a preemptive strike on the Yaltronian fleet at Proxima. This operation, codenamed Operation Eclipse, would involve a coordinated assault by both space and ground forces to secure the planet and cripple the enemy's capabilities. As the fleet prepared for the operation, morale was high. The recent victories and the newfound alliance had instilled a sense of hope and determination among the troops. However, they also understood the gravity of the mission. Failure could mean the end of their resistance and the fall of Earth. Captain Reyes, now a seasoned leader, addressed her crew aboard the Resolute. "This is our moment," she said, her voice firm and inspiring. "We've fought hard and sacrificed much. Today, we strike not just for survival, but for victory. Let's show them what humanity and our allies are capable of." The fleet jumped to Proxima, emerging from hyperspace to find the Yaltronian armada waiting. The battle began immediately, with both sides unleashing their full might. The space around Proxima was filled with the flashes of energy weapons and the debris of destroyed ships. On the ground, the coalition's forces landed amidst heavy resistance. Sergeant Valeria Chen, recovered from her injuries, led a contingent of elite troops tasked with securing the planet's main communications hub. The fighting was intense, with every inch of ground contested fiercely. In the heat of the battle, Captain Reyes's tactical brilliance shone through. She coordinated the fleet's movements with precision, exploiting weaknesses in the Yaltronian formations and pressing the advantage at critical moments. Her flagship, the Resolute, spearheaded several key assaults, its advanced weaponry cutting through enemy lines. The turning point came when a squadron of Dravarian fighters, led by Warlord Thrakos himself, executed a daring flanking maneuver. They targeted the Yaltronian flagship, a massive dreadnought that served as the enemy fleet's command center. The Dravarians, renowned for their combat prowess, breached the ship's defenses and disabled its command systems. With their flagship crippled and their command structure in disarray, the Yaltronian fleet began to falter. The Coalition's forces seized the opportunity, launching a relentless assault that shattered the enemy's ranks. On the ground, Sergeant Chen's team secured the communications hub, disrupting the Yaltronians' coordination and further tipping the scales in favor of the Coalition. The Battle of Proxima ended in a decisive victory. The Yaltronian fleet was routed, their forces in disarray. Humanity and their allies had achieved a significant triumph, one that marked a critical turning point in the war. The path to ultimate victory now seemed within reach. Flush with victory, the Coalition turned its sights on the Yaltronians' final stronghold, an orbital fortress known as the Obsidian Citadel. This heavily fortified station, orbiting the Yaltronian homeworld, was the linchpin of their defenses. Taking it would break the back of their military power and force them to negotiate for peace. The Obsidian Citadel was a formidable target. Its defenses were state-of-the-art, with multiple layers of shields, automated turrets, and a massive garrison of troops. General Tenzin knew that a direct assault would be costly. Instead, she devised a plan to weaken the fortress's defenses before launching the final attack. The Coalition's fleet assembled near the Yaltronian homeworld, preparing for the siege. Dr. Raj Patel and his team worked tirelessly to develop a series of EMP weapons designed to disable the Citadel's shields temporarily. Meanwhile, Captain Sophia Reyes and Warlord Thrakos led reconnaissance missions to gather intelligence on the fortress's defenses. The operation began with a coordinated EMP strike. Specialized ships launched the devices toward the Citadel, creating a massive electromagnetic pulse that disrupted its shield generators. The window of opportunity was narrow, and the Coalition's fleet moved in swiftly to exploit it. The initial assault focused on disabling the fortress's outer defenses. Squadrons of fighters and bombers targeted turrets and power conduits, while ground forces, led by Sergeant Valeria Chen, prepared for a daring boarding operation. The fighting was fierce, with both sides exchanging heavy fire. Inside the fortress, chaos reigned. The Yaltronian defenders, caught off guard by the EMP strike, scrambled to repel the invaders. Sergeant Chen and her team breached the Citadel's hull and fought their way through its labyrinthine corridors. Every corner and corridor became a battleground, the air thick with the sounds of blaster fire and explosions. Captain Reyes directed the space battle from the bridge of the Resolute. Her strategic acumen and calm under pressure were crucial in coordinating the multifaceted assault. The Coalition's ships maintained pressure on the fortress, preventing the Yaltronians from regrouping and launching a counterattack. As the battle raged, Sergeant Chen's team reached the Citadel's central control room. Their objective was to disable the station's main power core, effectively neutralizing its defenses. The room was heavily guarded, and a brutal firefight ensued. Chen's leadership and the team's training were put to the test as they fought their way to the core. With the control room secured, Dr. Patel's team remotely guided Chen and her soldiers through the process of shutting down the power core. The tension was palpable as they worked against the clock, knowing that failure could mean the loss of countless lives. Finally, with a series of precise actions, they succeeded in deactivating the core. The Obsidian Citadel's defenses crumbled. The fortress, once an impenetrable bastion, was now vulnerable. The Coalition's forces poured in, securing key areas and capturing the remaining Yaltronian troops. The fall of the Citadel marked the beginning of the end for the Yaltronian resistance. The destruction of the Obsidian Citadel sent shockwaves through the Yaltronian ranks. Their once invincible military machine was now on the brink of collapse. In a desperate bid to turn the tide, the Yaltronians launched a final counteroffensive, throwing everything they had left at the Coalition forces. The battle unfolded across multiple fronts. The Yaltronians targeted key strategic locations, hoping to cripple the coalition's supply lines and regain the initiative. The coalition, aware of the stakes, prepared for an all-out defense. General Tenzin issued a rallying call to all forces, emphasizing the importance of this last stand. "Today we fight not just for survival, but for the future of our worlds," she declared. "We have come too far and sacrificed too much to falter now. Stand strong, and let our resolve be the hammer that shatters their last hope." The Yaltronians' main thrust was directed at Earth, aiming to strike at the heart of the coalition. The battle began with a massive space engagement as the Yaltronian fleet descended upon Earth's orbital defenses. Captain Sophia Reyes, aboard the Resolute, led the defense with unwavering determination. The fighting was intense and chaotic. The Yaltronians, driven by desperation, fought with a ferocity not seen before. Human and Dravarian ships held the line, their coordinated maneuvers and superior tactics blunting the enemy's advance. The skies above Earth were filled with the streaks of laser fire and the explosions of dying ships. On the ground, the Yaltronians attempted to land troops to create chaos and disrupt the coalition's operations. Sergeant Valeria Chen, now a symbol of human resilience, led a defense force to repel the invaders. The battle for Earth's surface was brutal, with every city and military installation becoming a battleground. Chen's leadership and the determination of her troops turned the tide on the ground. Using guerrilla tactics and intimate knowledge of the terrain, they inflicted heavy casualties on the Yaltronian forces. Chen herself engaged in several key skirmishes, her courage and tactical brilliance inspiring those around her. Meanwhile, in space, Captain Reyes orchestrated a daring counteroffensive. She identified a weak point in the Yaltronian fleet's formation and led a concentrated strike. The Resolute, along with a squadron of Dravarian fighters, punched through the enemy lines, targeting their command ships. The decisive moment came when the Resolute engaged the Yaltronian flagship. The battle was fierce, with both ships exchanging devastating broadsides. Reyes's tactical genius and the advanced weaponry of her ship proved decisive. The Yaltronian flagship was critically damaged, its command structure thrown into disarray. With their flagship crippled and their ground forces in retreat, the Yaltronian counteroffensive collapsed. The coalition forces pressed their advantage, driving the remnants of the Yaltronian fleet out of Earth's orbit and securing the planet's surface. The last stand of the Yaltronians ended in their defeat, marking a pivotal victory for humanity and their allies. As the dust settled, General Tenzin addressed the coalition forces. "We have faced the darkness and emerged victorious. This war has tested our spirit, our resolve, and our unity. But today, we stand as one, ready to forge a new future together." The war was not over, but the end was now in sight. The Yaltronians, beaten and demoralized, were forced to reconsider their position. Humanity, strengthened by their allies and the hard-won victories, stood ready to negotiate a lasting peace and usher in a new era of interstellar relations. The defeat of the Yaltronian counteroffensive marked a turning point in the interstellar conflict. The coalition forces, bolstered by their recent victories, began pushing deeper into Yaltronian territory, liberating planets and dismantling the remnants of the enemy's military infrastructure. The momentum was firmly on humanity's side. In the wake of these victories, the Yaltronians, now cornered and exhausted, signaled their willingness to negotiate. The Earth Defense Coalition, mindful of the lessons learned from war, approached the peace talks with a mix of caution and hope. The negotiations were set to take place on a neutral ground, a space station orbiting a desolate moon, far from any potential conflict zones. President Arya Mitchell, General Maria Tenzin, and Captain Sophia Reyes represented humanity, while Warlord Thrakos stood for the Dravarians. The Yaltronians sent their High Chancellor, Xalar, a leader who had seen the devastation of war and was keen to find a peaceful resolution. The talks were tense at first. Memories of betrayal, loss, and the brutality of war loomed large over the proceedings. But as discussions progressed, a mutual understanding began to emerge. Both sides recognized the futility of continued conflict and the potential benefits of cooperation. General Tenzin spoke eloquently about the shared future of all species, emphasizing the need to rebuild and heal. "We have seen the worst of what war brings," she said, "but we have also seen the strength of unity and the power of hope. Let us forge a future where our differences become our strengths, and our shared dreams light the way." High Chancellor Zahler, moved by Tenzin's words and the prospect of peace, agreed to the terms proposed by the coalition. The Yaltronians would dismantle their remaining military strongholds and cease all hostilities. In return, the coalition would assist in rebuilding Yaltronian infrastructure and integrate them into the newly formed Interstellar Union. The peace treaty was signed, marking the official end of the war. Celebrations erupted across Earth and its allied worlds. The relief and joy were palpable as people danced in the streets, grateful for the promise of a brighter future. Back on Earth, the process of rebuilding began in earnest. Cities that had been damaged by the war saw a flurry of construction activity. New technologies developed during the conflict were now repurposed for civilian use, improving quality of life and advancing human society. The spirit of unity and cooperation that had been forged in the crucible of war now fueled progress and innovation. Sergeant Valeria Chen, hailed as a hero for her bravery and leadership, was honored in a grand ceremony. Statues were erected, and her name became synonymous with courage and resilience. But Chen, ever humble, focused on helping veterans reintegrate into civilian life, advocating for their rights and well-being. Captain Sophia Reyes continued to serve in the coalition fleet, now tasked with peacekeeping and exploration missions. The Resolute became a symbol of hope and determination, its voyages expanding humanity's understanding of the galaxy and fostering new alliances. Dr. Raj Patel, leveraging his wartime innovations, spearheaded initiatives to address environmental challenges and improve healthcare. His work helped heal both the planet and its people, ensuring that the sacrifices made during the war were not in vain. The Dravarians, too, found new purpose in peace. Warlord Thrakos, having proven his people's strength and honor, led efforts to integrate Dravarian warriors into the Interstellar Union's defense forces, ensuring that their martial prowess was channeled towards protecting and preserving peace. As the years passed, the Interstellar Union grew, encompassing a diverse array of species united by common goals and shared values. The lessons learned from the war guided their governance, fostering an era of unprecedented cooperation and prosperity. Humanity, once seen as the newcomers to the galactic stage, had proven their resilience, ingenuity, and capacity for both war and peace. Their journey from the brink of annihilation to the forefront of interstellar diplomacy became a beacon of hope for all species, demonstrating that even in the darkest of times, the light of unity and perseverance could lead to a new dawn. And so, under the stars that had witnessed their greatest trials and triumphs, humanity and their allies embarked on a new chapter, one filled with promise, peace, and the unyielding belief in a brighter future for all.